All right, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to show you about how my collection storage has evolved over time. And I guess I'll start at the beginning, how I think a lot of people, at least in the Pokemon space, start their collection storage. And that's going to be the tried and true ETB bottoms. They're great for a period of time. It's nice that you're able to reuse some of the stuff, the bottoms that you get from opening the products. But if you like to stay organized like I do, it just doesn't cut it after a while. And that's where I moved to BCW 800 count boxes. And at the time, I picked 800 count boxes because they're $2 a piece or whatever they are, but it adds up. So I'm like, oh, I want the biggest box possible so I can store the most cards that I can. Until it got to a point where I needed a storage solution for these boxes themselves. And that's where I found these straight wall plastic containers from Uline. So these were nice for a while. Let me show you how these 800 count boxes fit in these containers. They were nice for a time until I found myself needing more containers. So with these containers themselves, part of the features is that they are stackable and that they have optional lids. But with these 800 count boxes, the tops of them protrude out of the top of the container, so you're not able to use a lid and you're not able to stack them. So I knew that this next step would have to take place eventually, and I put it off for a while because I just didn't have the time or really the energy to do it. But it's taken me 3 weekends on and off now of converting my 800 count boxes to these 660 count boxes. And these 660 count boxes fit within these containers perfectly, well below the lid and the rim of the container. So it makes the container stackable. It makes the lid usable. So the 660 count are the thing that I moved to. Now with this migration of how I store all my bulk, I went from, a visual kind of identifier here where I would cut the pack art and then I would just do, just plain text and laminate it with packing tape. I went to a label system, and with these labels, they're just glossy laser labels where you feed them into, if you have a laser printer, you get these labels. You have a template on your computer. You get some logos, some text, whatever you want to use. And then you feed the labels into the printer and it spits out these sheets of labels. So what I did is, for the Scarlet and Violet era, I actually found the exact font that they use for the set symbol identifier in the bottom left of the card itself. And I have each label with each set. So as you can see here, this is a lot of Paradox Rift. These are all completely filled with Paradox Rift. That is the set that I chose at the time, years ago at this point, where I was like, I'm going to do the thing that everybody says not to do and don't try to master a set by opening it. But I went ahead and did it because at the time packs were cheap. You were getting booster boxes for $85, $90. So I decided to give it a shot and I failed. I was not able to master the set via pulling from packs, but I did end up mastering it, but I ended up having to buy singles. But anyway, and then for the earlier stuff where they used to use set symbols for the set identifier at the bottom of the card, I actually found the logos themselves, and I was actually able to put those on the labels. So this box itself is now full. So you can actually, so I have these configured for 20 660 count boxes, which is a little over 13,000 cards per container. So storage density is a huge factor here, which is super nice. And these containers can handle a lot of weight. I think they're rated at something like 400 pounds or something silly like that. So now that this one is full, I have no reason to be accessing this regularly. I'm not adding to it as I'm opening additional packs. And I'm not really taking anything from it because for the most part, these are all commons and uncommons. Like some of the hollows and stuff are in here. They're not commons and uncommons, but I'm also not selling them at the time. Maybe I will in the future, but this is going to be long-term storage. So it'll go probably in the basement, lid on. I'll probably throw some silica packets in there to just keep moisture under control. But that'll be kind of like on ice. But then for my other current storage that I have that I want easily accessible, kind of in my TCG closet here, is going to be over here. I've got a container for Sword and Shield. Again, like not all of these are full or probably even half full. But my rule that I've set for this system is that if I have enough cards out of a set or a TCG in particular too, if I have enough where it's going to take up about a third of a box, I'll just dedicate its own box to it, and it'll get its own label and all that. So Sword and Shield is over here. This is later, like second half of Scarlet and Violet, and now Mega. And then this is probably like the first half of Scarlet and Violet. So all easily accessible so that, if I'm opening a bunch of packs or whatever, hits go in the binder, surplus hits go in those containers up there. And then, the bulk is sorted and easily organized over here. So that's just how I have this storage system figured out. So I guess to show you within each box itself, my system within the system is, I'll show it here with this. So this is Mega Evolution. So this is all the Mega that I've opened so far. And what I do is I sleeve anything that shines. I know it's not I know it's not the way that a lot of people store their bulk, but I'm not going to be selling this to a bulk buyer who's then going to be feeding it to a machine. If I do end up selling, hollows or reverse hollows down the road, years down the road maybe, I'll probably be doing it myself. So I like to sleeve anything that shines. And the way that I have this system figured out is that within the box, I do the sleeved stuff to the left, and I do the storage of these boxes vertically so that the cards, which are the hollows and the reverse hollows, which are the most prone to warping over time due to temperature changes or moisture in the air, which is going to cause some of these cards to get a little bit of a warpage going on. The hope is that by storing these boxes vertically in those containers with the hollows and reverse hollows on the left, the weight of the bulk above it is going to help compress that. And also it's going to have those cards closer to the bottom. So it's not going to be, again, it's not raining in the office here, but like seasons change. Right now in the winter, like the air is super dry. So as you can tell, my voice is a little hoarse, but it's a factor of long-term archiving and storage that you kind of have to keep in mind if you want to have your cards in the best condition possible. And this is just the system that I've figured out that works for me, and how I store. Like I like to have all my TCG stuff kind of like in the closet so that it's like easily accessible in the office here. Because like I'll kind of like, I like to keep this corner of the office like modular. So like earlier in the week, this was set up, like I was shipping some stuff on eBay. Like I'll do videos here. A couple weeks ago, I was building a PC here. So it's like within the office, like I like having everything modular so that I can shift gears, and all the TCG stuff, like hobby stuff, is kind of like living in there. And I can just slide these containers in and out if I need to access them. It's super easy to do. And yeah, so that's just the system that I've come up with. Like I said, like it's it's a lot of effort to kind of like get it going and get the organization level to a point where I have it now. Like I feel like now it's like finished for now. But it's like a major relief because like I was doing the system like this for a long time, and I knew at some point I was going to have to, you know, kind of evolve it to the next level. And it feels good to be done with all this. So everything's boxed in the new 660 count, labeled. Everything's where it should be. This is probably the most organized my collection has ever been. And it feels good, honestly. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of this video. If you have any questions, holler at me in the comments, and I'll try to answer whatever I can. But yeah, I hope you found it useful, and I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye.